be upon you. I am Farrukh Nadeem. Today, with a new lecture, with a new tutorial. In the last lecture that you watched earlier, we imported the Urdu text into Spire. And then in it, I also mentioned that in the last lecture that was ours, we imported this text and then converted it to 3D. And the lesson did not end here. We had to continue to cut this Urdu text separately. Now, that could be Urdu text, or it could be a vector instead, it could be a design, or it could be a logo. So we need to cut it separately, meaning to place it on a panel. So when we receive a design or when we create one, it appears just like this written vector, and in it, the spaces in between are as per standard or as per the text and nothing else. But when we have to cut out these same words, you'll notice that we have to eliminate the spaces between them and nest them together to save material. So actually today's topic is something like this, which we call nesting, just like how a bird builds a nest by weaving one twig through another, making it compact to form a nest. So basically nesting will play the same role here as well. It will arrange all the words, all the designs by fitting them into each other to save material. It will only give you the cutting margin, and while saving your material, it will prepare the file for cutting. So let's get started. Here I am creating a new file and I have set its width to 48, and from the other side as well I am making it approximately 48. We can adjust the size later. I have created the file. Now think of it like this. We have to design a board. What will that board design be? On top of that, we import some text from Urdu text, and we also import a monogram into it. So let's start. Go to import, then import vector and import it here. When you go to import, this dialog will appear, and in it you will need to start a file. For example, here I have the file of the CDCIM logo. I select this file and enlarge it to whatever size you want to place it at. I also roughly position it so you can get an idea of how the setting should be done. I placed it here. Now keep in mind that when you're designing this, you need to know that the designer, for instance, the strip inside it should be thick enough so that it doesn't break during cutting. So I zoom in and take measurements here. To take the measurement, I use the dimension tool. From here to here, what is the measurement? That is, this measurement is 0.1915 inches, you can see. 0.1915. If I check it in millimeters using a calculator, because it's a bit easier for compatibility, 0.1915 multiplied by 25.4. So this comes out to approximately 5 mm. I think this is too little, and there's a higher chance of it breaking. There's no need to take such a risk, only do it if it's absolutely necessary. Otherwise, try to make the design big enough so you can manage it. So the very first thing I'll do is increase its size a bit. I've moved it outwards a little, just leaving enough margin so it doesn't disturb us. After that, this small text written here approximately, the thickness of both is coming out the same. So it's become a little more than 5 millimeters, close to 2 suits, so it's okay. Now we need to write some Urdu text below this. For the Urdu text, we'll have to go to in page. On in page, I have already typed out a file and kept it ready. You need to create a box, and inside the box you have to type. Change the font as you like. You can design it however you want inside this box. And this box, see here, it got deselected. Now I've selected it. After selecting it, we'll go to export page. Inside the export page, you need to browse and assign it a location. Here, I'll name this file as number 3. And here, you need to select PostScript file which has the EPS extension. Save it here. After saving, click OK. Once you click OK, your file is saved. Now let's go back to Aspire. After coming to Aspire, we'll import it in vector form. Here I have the number 3 file ready. As you can see, I've enlarged it. This is approximately the size I want to use here. Now it contains Urdu. And one very important thing from a design perspective, dangerous thing about it is that there's a double line on top of it. Why? Because this text is separate and this text is separate. When you change the font, you'll face issues like this. But no problem, we'll solve it. How will we solve it? Look, select both of them together and weld them. In the same way, select both of these from here as well and weld them. When you weld, make sure that there isn't any object in it that is a double vector. What is a double vector? Let me explain that too. For example, here on the router, the border that's made and the cap on top of it, inside that there's a double curve, meaning this is a vector, and inside it there's another vector. If you select all of this, the one you want to keep, and then weld it, the inner vector gets removed. So the inner vector gets removed. So the inner vector gets removed. So the inner vector gets removed. You shouldn't do that. You only need to select just enough of the object and then weld it. Then I'll be here. So in this way, you will definitely have to put in a little effort, but the design will turn out well. I have welded this as well. We can also select the entire design together. Just remember, there shouldn't be any double vectors. Suppose I select this and weld it now. What will happen is, as you keep welding them, the joints between them will be removed. They will keep merging together. This is very important. Otherwise, the words you write will all get cut. Or look here, there are no double vectors inside this. I can select the entire text and weld it all together. If I come here, you can see I selected everything together. And in this, for the cup, I remove this segment and add it here. And then I weld it as well. So this is also welded. Some letters are left over here. I select them all together, add the lam as well, and weld them all together. Just make sure there is no vector that is doubled. After doing this, come here. Here we have this text written. I move this text a little forward. Placement isn't really an issue. You can handle that yourself. I placed it here. Now, there is no alif in Rabita, but that's not a problem. We can take an alif from anywhere. I copied it and placed it here. And look, if you want, you can move it a little as well. I moved it and placed the alif here. So viewers, in this way, the board we want to make or the text we want to write is almost ready. Now, understand this. This is a very important point. For example, if this text is written here, I don't want to waste material by cutting out the entire signboard or the whole piece of MDF or whatever source material you're using. What I want is that for whatever material needs to be cut, since we basically need these letters and not the outer part, we need the inner object. So for that, the cutting will definitely be from the outside and the inner letters will be saved. So why should I waste the outer material? For this, I need to do nesting. Save the file so that when you give it to the customer, you can also provide this file in parallel so that they know how to assemble it. The customer can assemble it themselves. Or if you're assembling it, you'll have this file saved. Save it once. Here, I'm saving it as signboard. Now, what's our next step? One way is that you've done this work and you copy all this text like I did here with Ctrl+C, and on Aspirian, your taskbar, where Aspire is open right click and open Aspire 9.5 again, so that two Aspires are open in parallel. And here, the process is the same. If you have a 4 foot wide piece or whatever size your MDF or source material is, enter that size here and click OK. Now I'll paste all that data here, and now I need to do nesting. For nesting, we have a tool available here. Select all your objects, and after selecting, go to the nesting option. Once you're in nesting, there are a few important things to understand. Which tool do you need to use for this? Enter the tool diameter. I'm using a 0.125 tool, meaning I'm using a 1/8 diameter tool. And after that, look here, this is clearance. This is a very important aspect. Once this is set up, I'll brief you a bit more about it. Actually, what you need to specify is when two parts are placed next to each other, how much gap should be left between them. One thing to consider is the tool diameter when the tool cuts through. How much space should be left behind? Now, there are two scenarios. Either the space is such that the adjacent part also gets cut, or it depends on the design. If it's a straight design, then it's fine, we can reduce the gap. But if the design is curved, then at least one tool diameter should pass through. That is, after the cutter passes through one side, when it cuts from the other side, there should be enough space between the two for the material to withstand the pressure of the tool. So here for the diameter, and on this side, the bin clearance, I set it to 0.375. You'll understand this better as we go forward. I've kept the border gap at 0.5, meaning when it cuts the sheet on the sides where you need to leave a border. For example, where you have to drill a nail or screw, you need to leave some space there. After that, in the part nesting option, it's asking you meaning. You have to specify that. It can rotate and adjust all the parts within each other by twisting them around. So it's asking what the minimum step angle should be. I've set it to 5 degrees, so it can rotate up to 5 degrees for adjustment. If you set it to 2 degrees, it will adjust even more precisely. So no problem. After that, you don't need to enable mirror part. Don't place one part inside another part. This is another thing to understand. When we go to the sheet option, then nest from. The sheet has 4 edges. Nesting will start from this corner. What will be the nesting direction? It will go along. It will use the full Y and increase along the X as much as it needs extra. When we do it practically, you will understand it. If we go along the Y, then X will be fully utilized and it will increase towards Y as much space as it needs. I need a copy of this, so click OK. That means I have applied it. After applying it, now preview it. It will take a little time. This is processing. Give the software enough time so it can process. After this processing, it will show you the nesting. If you are satisfied with the nesting, if you accept that it is meeting your requirements, then click done. If not, you can adjust it again. Adjust the gap if needed. Go to sheet options and adjust the nesting position there. Look at this, very nice. If you try to do it manually, then see how much time it takes and whether you can do it or not. So look here, all the data I had, it arranged everything on one side with the help of nesting. Now let's come to the point I mentioned earlier that we will talk about nesting. What is nesting? It said along axis, meaning here we selected along axis. What does along axis mean? It means that it will fully consume the Y, but as the material increases, it will extend it towards the X. In other words, it will increase the space towards the X according to the amount of material. Now, if I select along Y, what will happen? Let's take a preview again. It will process again. Now, with along Y, what will happen? It will use the entire X direction in front of you, and as the material increases, it will keep moving it towards the Y direction. So this is a fantastic option. It's a very useful feature. Make sure you understand it. And I always try to take you all along with me. Mashallah, I'm getting very good feedback from you all. It makes me happy, and the best part is that many friends have started their own businesses. That makes me very happy. So viewers, look at this. It has done the nesting. It has fully consumed the X and kept it along with the Y. As the material increases, it keeps moving upwards. So this is a great setting. It's almost impossible to do this manually by yourself. You can never do it this well manually, nor can you ever save this much sheet. This setting, as I see it, makes sense to me and seems okay. I am marking it as done. After clicking OK, now let's come to its program. Now, there is a very important thing that I wanted to mention earlier, but now it will become clear. Yes, we come to the profile tool here. During the nesting earlier, we had selected the point 125 tool. Here, you should also keep the end mill at point 125. I always say use a carbide tool. If you have any problem with the tool, do share it. Hopefully, I will try to provide you with this tool. Now, we come to edit pass. In edit pass, I have reduced its passes. I do it in 3 passes because the letters are very fine. So make sure to do at least 3 passes. The sheet is 0.75 thickness. If you do 3 passes, it will make 1 pass of 2 soot, local unit. So I've set it to 3 passes and clicked OK. For cutting, I will take outer because I want to save the inner parts. Give it outer cutting. After giving outer cutting, this is profile 1, calculate it. How will you do it? First select the object and calculate it. After calculation, see here, it has designed the paths for it. Now preview it here. Look, it will show the cutting for all the parts one by one. Friends, I hope today's lecture will also be very beneficial for you. You will gain a lot from this. Your material will be saved, your work speed will improve, and most importantly, you are learning professional techniques. As always, I ask for your prayers. Please remember me in your prayers. Inshallah, next time I will meet you again with something new, a new technique. Allah Hafiz.